In the autumn of 1961, the Soviets shattered a recently agreed testing moratorium with the detonation of a monster H-bomb. To this day, its colossal yield of 57 megatons has never been exceeded. In response, the Americans immediately resumed their testing program with an extensive series of high-profile thermonuclear shots. The uneasy peace between East and West had never looked so shaky. Far worse was still to come, though. On Monday, October the 15th, 1962, an American U-2 photographed SS-4 nuclear missile launching sites in Cuba, a mere 90 miles from the coast of Florida. President Kennedy was informed the following morning and assembled his military advisors. Most of them recommended an airstrike to take out the Cuban bases, followed by an invasion. Kennedy immediately mobilized a vast army of men and material. The invasion plan called for the largest drop of paratroopers since D-Day. Strategic Air Command's fleet of well over 1,000 B-52 and B-47 bombers stood at DEFCON 2, the highest military alert short of all-out war. An eighth of these bombers were armed and in the air at all times, prepared to drop nuclear weapons on targets in Cuba and the Soviet Union. Pre-launch procedures were underway for the 172 intercontinental ballistic missiles ranged against the Russians. More than 100,000 combat-ready infantrymen were deployed to ports along the east coast. And a huge Navy fleet, moments away from battle stations, was steaming through the international waters of the Caribbean. The American war machine was at its highest state of readiness, only awaiting the go signal from the White House. The Pentagon estimated that 18,500 Americans would be killed or wounded in the first 10 days of the battle. This influenced Kennedy's decision to forego an airstrike. Instead, the Americans imposed a blockade encircling the island. The dangerousness of the situation was exacerbated by primitive international telecommunications. Khrushchev was unable to gain instant contact with his commanders in Cuba. Commanders that, unbeknown to the Americans, controlled tactical nuclear weapons that they were authorized to use if US forces invaded. The famous hotline directly linking the two superpower leaders was still a year away, preventing the possibility of direct dialogue between them. The line between London and Washington, though, was in frequent use as the Prime Minister urged the Americans to exercise restraint.